Hello and welcome to today's reflection. I'm Julie Butcher, curate at Holy Trinity and St Michael and All Angels, and it's lovely to be with you today. Well, it's Make Up Our Minds time in today's Gospels reading from Matthew. In the previous passage, which Vicky talked about yesterday, Jesus has reassured his disciples of God's help and pointed out how to live well, summing it up quite simply: in everything, do to others as you would have them do to you. And now, in the various examples Jesus gives us today, it's time to make up your mind. Which path will you choose? And so the reading is from Matthew 7, beginning at verse 13. Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is easy that leads to destruction, and there are many who take it. For the gate is narrow and the road is hard that leads to life, and there are few who find it. Beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorns or figs from thistles? In the same way, every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad trees bear bad fruit. And a tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus you will know them by their fruits. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the ones who do the will of my Father in heaven. On that day many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you who behave lawlessly. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act of them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was that fall. Now when Jesus had finished saying these words, the crowds were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as their scribes. And this is the word of the Lord. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not good at making up my mind. My husband will tell you I drive him mad. So much so that many years ago, a friend of mine gave me a coin. It came in a little plastic wallet with a little bit of paper that said, if you can't make your mind up, flip this coin. You flip the coin when you were undecided on something. It was a joke, really, but he pointed out which one, it doesn't matter which one you decide, really, because if the decision's so close between two things, then maybe it doesn't really matter which you decide. But here there's a very serious decision to be made and lived by. It has to be lived by too, by those who follow. So are we with Joshua? Do you remember in the Old Testament, who says to people, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. And he says, but as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. If we're going to do that, then the message here in this passage is that it's going to be hard sometimes. But we have to remember that it's God who gives us grace and help. Now, often when I'm undecided, I find that when I actually finally make the big decision, there's a great peace in that. And I think it's the same when we decide to follow God. It might be difficult, but there's a peace in knowing that that's who we're following. It might be hard, but we have that peace. And we know we have God's help too. So good luck with all the decisions you make today. And I hope you have a peaceful day. I'll finish with a lovely blessing from the Iona community, which I came across recently and we used on Sunday at the toy service. May God, who is present in sunrise and nightfall, and in the crossing of the sea, guide your feet as you go. May God, who is with you when you sit and when you stand, encompass you with love and lead you by the hand. May God, who knows your path and the places where you rest, be with you in your waiting, be your good news for sharing, and lead you to the way that is everlasting. Amen. God bless. Bye-bye.